Good morning, everybody. Traveller 5, Unit 3, Grammar Revision. In this class, we will revise the grammar section of Unit 3 in Traveller 5. Okay, let's discuss the past simple and past progressive and differentiate between these two tenses. Let's make a sentence in the past simple. We will say, she worked yesterday, for example. She worked. If you want to make the same sentence, the same action in past progressive, you will say she was working. She was working. Okay, to make a question in past simple, you will use did. Did you work? This if you have a main verb like work, for worked, you will use did, then the subject, then the verb. Instead of worked, you will say work. Did you work? Did she work? Did he work? What about past progressive? The sentence is she was working. And to make a question, you will say was she working? Was she working? If you have WH question or you want to make informative question, you will use just like where. Where did you work? Where was she working? Where, why, who, okay? Let's make another sentence. They bought a new mobile yesterday. They bought, it is in the past simple. Bought comes from the verb buy. They buy. But when you want to make it in the past, yesterday, you will say they bought a new mobile, irregular verb, not like worked, no, buy, bought. Let's go for the past progressive for the same verb or the same action. We will say they were buying. They were buying. Where is the past? Buying is the progressive. They were buying a new mobile. Okay? What about negative? They did not buy a new mobile. They did not buy a new mobile. For the past progressive, you will say they were not buying a new mobile. They were not buying a new mobile, just not for the helping verb were or was. Here, not for the helping verb, which will be did. Okay, give me the rule to make a affirmative sentence in the past simple. You will start with subject. She, he, they, we, you, I, Ahmed, Khalid, people, doctors, whatever. Then the verb in the past simple. Okay? What about past progressive? Subject, always in English sentence, we start the sentences with subject. Subject, then was or were. You know, was for the singular subject, singular pronoun or singular name, and were for plural. She, he, it, was. They, we, and I. They, we, you, were. Then verb with ing. They were buying a new mobile. Okay. Are there any time expressions can help you to decide what tense is the sentence? Yes. For the past simple, you have to use ago. Time expression give you the feeling that this action happened in the past, like ago, yesterday, in 1998, in 2017, okay? Any past date. Last, and you can say last week, last month, last night, last summer, okay? For past progressive, you have time clause like when, while, as, or as soon as. Okay. Second step, to be so familiar with the tenses and be able to use them to discuss what do you want to say or any situation or even to write, you have to know the uses of each tense. Let's start with the past simple. Okay, past simple is used to describe completed action. A completed action, something finished, something you are done with in the past. The time is usually mentioned or implied. Okay? Remember, do you remember the present perfect? We said it's about an action happened in the past, but the time is not mentioned or implied. For past simple, yes, it's a completed action and the time is usually mentioned or implied. I bought a mobile phone yesterday. Bought, it is in yesterday, so it's past. So I will choose a verb in the past tense. I bought a mobile. The past simple is used to describe a completed action that happened one after the other in the past. We have many actions, 2 or more actions. All of them happened in the past, so you will use the past tense with them, like past simple. I woke up the till, paid, and then left the shop. I walked up to the till, okay, this is the first, paid, 2, and then left the shop. 3 actions in the past. Okay, the past simple is used to describe past habits or repeated action in the past. So it's one of your habits or anyone habits and it was repeated in the past. So you will say, and often used with adverb of frequency because it's habit. So you need adverb of frequency like always, usually, often. Okay? When I was younger. When I was younger. This is the time in the past. Okay? I often went jogging in the park. Jogging in the park. So the verb is went jogging in the past simple because you are talking about your habit when you were younger. The past simple is used to describe permanent situation in the past. Permanent, lasting situation in the past. Like Jake lived with his grandparents when he was young. So it was a permanent situation. When he was young, he lived with his grandparents. Okay. The past simple is used to describe an action in the past interrupted, a longer action in progress. So, you have 2 actions. This means that you will have 2 actions. Both of these actions in the past, but one of them is longer than the other. So the longer action is in a process, okay, completing, going on, while the second action is not that long, it's shorter. So you will use the past simple with the shorter action and the past progressive with the longer action. I was sleeping. This is the long action when the phone rang. So you were sleeping and you interrupted by the phone ringing. 2 actions, one interrupted the other. So it will be in 2 tenses, past simple and past progressive. Okay, I was sleeping when the phone rang. When the phone rang. Remember this because when we go to past progressive, we will revise it again. Okay, the past progressive. Do you remember the rule for the past progressive? Don't forget, we need a helping verb was or were, then verb with ing. Okay. We used past progressive to describe an action in progress. It's not completed like the past simple. No, it is in progress at certain time in the past. So you have a certain time, just like the past simple, but here the action is in a progress, going on. Okay? Look at the sentence. What were you doing? It's a question. What were you doing at 10 o'clock last night? What's the certain time here? Yes, 10 o'clock last night. This is the time. Okay, what was the action or the question or the verb doing? Doing. So it will be in past progressive. What were you doing? Were the past, doing the verb with ing, and by this we get a past progressive tense. I was having a shower. Was having a shower. Okay, so always the past of am for I is was. I was. Just in one case, do you remember when we have to say I were, not I was? Okay, go back to if conditional and try to revise. There is an exception and we say I were, not I was. Why? Go back to the previous lesson. Okay. Also, the past progressive is used to describe actions that were happening at same time in the past, usually with while or as. What do we mean here? So you have many actions, not just one, and all of these actions happened at the same time in the past. Okay, like the sentence. And usually this sentence comes with while or as. While Susan was cooking, her daughter was sleeping. Okay, it's not that we have an action interrupted by the other. No, the two actions happened at the same time. One of them cooking, the other girl sleeping. So since they are in the past and in particular time or specific time, you will say while Susan was cooking, her daughter was sleeping. The past progressive is used to describe background scene to a story. Okay, if you are writing a story, for sure you will have background, okay, to your story. So if you are describing this background for your story, use the past progressive. Look at this sentence and it will make it so clear for you. There were a lot of people at the station. So the setting is a lot of people at a station. Okay? He will describe now what is everyone doing. There were a lot of people at a station. Some were talking on their mobiles. Others were sleeping and a few were walking up and down. So this is the scene for a story in the past. Some were talking, others were sleeping, few were walking. Okay? The past progressive is used to describe a temporary past state or action, not something permanent, lasting, like past simple. No, it's something or action, temporary, past tenses or actions. My grandmother was writing a book in those days. Okay, it's something temporary. It's not lasting forever, or it's not something going on. It's something happening now. Sorry, happening in the past, but it is temporary. Okay. My grandfather was writing a book in those days. Okay. The past progressive is used to describe repetitive, something you repeat it more and more, or annoying actions. Okay? Repetitive or annoying actions with adverbs of, again, for frequency, repeating. When you repeat something, you need adverb of frequency, like always, usually, never, ever, seldom. Okay? My brother was always taking my toys when we were young. So it is something annoying. You were not happy with this. Okay, it's annoying and repetitive. Okay, so you will use past progressive. My brother. Okay, the subject. Helping verb for brother will be was. Then the frequency, the adverb of frequency always. then the verb with ing. My brother was always taking my toes when we were young. Okay. Finally, the past progressive is used to describe an action in progress in the past that was interrupted by another action. Okay, so you have two actions, one interrupted the other. Okay, while I was driving, this is the long action, I was driving. The short action is I saw a cat in the street. So the long action will go with past progressive, was driving, while the short action will take past simple. And don't forget, these two actions, one of them interrupted the other. They are not happening at the same time. No, one interrupted the other. While I was driving, interrupted by I saw a cat in the street. Okay? Now, as we said that we have time clause for the past progressive. We said it could be when, while, as soon as. Okay, so I want you to be careful with something for these time clauses. Okay, remember, we use the past progressive and the past simple in the same time. Sometimes we use both of the tenses in the same sentence, and we had many examples. When one action interrupted another in the past, use the past progressive for the longer action and the past simple for the shorter action. Again, the same sentence. In this case, we usually use while, when, or as. Two actions, one interrupted the other, you will use usually while, when, as. While I was driving, I saw a cat in the street. Was driving is the long action, saw a cat is the short action. We commonly use as soon as, it's another time clause for past progressive, as soon as with the past simple. Okay, we commonly, it happened. As soon as we arrived on the island, we ran to the beach. We ran to the beach. Okay. There is something else I want you to concentrate on. Used to. Used to plus base form, because we have used to plus verb with ing. Here it's about used to plus base form. Like my grandfather used to be librarian, working in a library. Use to, then the base is be. Express permanent state, past habit, or repeated action in the past. In the past, not now. So this action were like a habit, or were like habits. In past or repeated, you will use used to plus base form. Now it is not anymore. Okay? He used to smoke heavily when he was younger. When he was younger, but now, for God, he is not anymore. So it was one of his bad habits in the past when he was younger. He used to smoke. Used to, then the base form smoke, not smoking, not smoked. Okay. We have also would plus base form, not just used to, would plus base form. Express past habit or describe someone's typical behavior in the past. Sometimes it's not just a habit, it's behavior, typical behavior in the past. Look here. Every evening, he would do his homework. This is his behavior, this is his habits. Watch TV and go to bed quite early. Every evening, he would do his homework, would, then the base form do. He would do his homework, watch TV, and go to bed quite early. Okay? Remember, here we are talking about past habit, but we didn't use the past tense of the verb. Okay? We use would plus base form. Here we use used plus base form. Okay, let's do this exercise together. Please open your book, page 35. Okay. Yesterday morning, let's read the exercise itself. Complete the text with the past simple or past progressive of the verbs in brackets. So you have to decide, you have to make a decision. Is it past simple or past progressive? Yesterday morning, there be an attempted robbery at a computer shop. Yes, there was. Okay, there was. Okay. Number 2, two men who wear gorilla masks run into the shop, pull out their guns, and ask for all money in the till. Okay, so here we have two actions. Okay, so number 1, we will start to do with what? Wearing. Okay. Gorilla masks. Run into. Yes, it will be ran into. Okay. The first one was progressive. The second will be past simple. Pull. Yes. Series of action. Yes, pulled. Out their guns and ask for all the money in the till. At first, the staff think the robber play a joke on them of the shop, and one of the shop assistant even offer the robbers a. Okay. So here, sorry. At first, the staff think, yes, will be thought. The robbers play two actions at the same time, one interrupted by the other. Yes, were playing a joke on them, and one of the shop assistant even over the robbers. What did he? The robbers a banana. Can you imagine a banana? Okay. Yes. Play will be were playing, and offer will be offered. Okay, so yesterday morning there was an attempted robbery at a computer shop. The men who were wearing a gorilla mask ran into the shop, pulled out their guns, and asked for all the money in the till. Yes, asked. Again, series of action happened in the past. At first, the staff thought the robbers were playing a joke on them, and one of the shop assistant even offered the robbers a banana. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoy it. Please be safe, stay at home. See you next lesson. Goodbye.